What is going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 108 of Littleroot Lessons. As always, I'm your host, Carter Noble, joined by our fantastic co-host, Carl Wilkin, and fresh off a top 8 finish at Salt Lake City, we have Jeremy Boyd with us today. Guys, what is going on?
Not a whole lot. Super excited to have Jeremy on the podcast this week. Great top 8 finish, great run. I got to watch the match as live as I could get it off of the stream. Real tough set against Joe UX9 there in top 8, but overall, real good run.
Jeremy, what do you think, dude?
Thanks. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's kind of insane. Like, I kind of, I don't know. It's like, yeah, it's really just insane. Like, I guess, I mean, I had definitely wanted to play well, but I guess, I don't know. I mean, not like basically, I think for the first time, like being in Salt Lake City was really cool. I had gotten there like a little bit early, and just sort of explored the city for a while. And it was a lot of really uplifting energy, kind of. And when I got there and played like just sort of one set at a time, it was kind of like a calm, and I was just sort of like, you know, playing the game I wanted to play. And like right before the tournament too, I was really debating. Like, I was with my friend who I mentioned in my article, Riley, and I was like, when it crossed me, it's like, not the meta, it's not there. I just need to bring Zacian. Like, I practiced with him against those Zacian teams, but yeah. Then when they were giving out hats, the hat that I was given also had a Mimikyu on it. We were like, it's a sign. It's good that I chose this Necrozma team. Like, and then yeah, and yeah, the Swiss rounds were really fun, and also just in general at the tournament, like I got to meet so many people I talked to on Discord, through like the USPA, and met a bunch of other people, like some of like my heroes on YouTube. It was really cool. Like, the whole community was like really, really supportive, really uplifting, really nice, really helpful too. Yeah, it was an awesome time in general. It was kind of surreal. Yeah.
In your article that you written up, you say that, you know, you started when VGC started, basically, back in Gen 4. Have you, you know, now that you have 100 CP, you're a quarter of the way to Worlds already. Have you played at Worlds before?
No, never.
I'm assuming at this point you're going to shoot for it, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely planning on going to as many as I can. Like Milwaukee, Indy, Columbus Internats, probably not Vancouver, but hopefully New Jersey too. Yeah,
I know we have quite a few from the Discord who've been itching to go, and, you know, there's a big group ready to go for like Jersey and stuff. I know for sure.
That's really cool.
You know, like we were talking before, I work every weekend, so I don't get to do live events right now.
Mm-hmm.
So like I haven't played in a live event since Collinsville in 2020. So that was the last big event.
That was the last live event. Yeah.
Yeah. That was I had played at a premiere event like the beginning of January 2020, and people were like, I think, gearing up for Collinsville, talking about it. That would have been really fun to go to, because that was after January, right? Or late January.
It was
the first weekend of March. It was like February, March, end of that.
Yeah, it was like the last 2 days of February and the first day of March.
And then the World game in April, and here we are now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you know, like it's crazy. You and I both played for the KSMO team for USPA, and Paul was also like, you know, he was there as a like team helper and all that. And it's crazy to think that we live 3 hours apart, and like there's no one around me that plays VGC in the middle of nowhere in Missouri. So like to have like an actual team of like basically local guys was really cool, just to be able to have that experience. I know my record wasn't the best. It is what it is at this point.
My record, Yeah, I mean, we played. I think, yeah. Anyway, right.
Like, it is what it is. But oh well. So let's talk about your actual event here. I know. Let's break down the team first, and your team building and where we ended up with the team.
Cool. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So the idea here is, we're a very hard trick room team with Duskmane, Necrozma, Kyogre, Mimikyu, Ensign, Amoonguss, and Eliki. So, what led you to this restricted duo of Kyogre and Necrozma?
Yeah, so this restricted duo, so I've been playing with Necrozma. So this all came from, so right, when the virus was going around, we had our Players' Cups, and I entered, I think it was like 2 through 4. And so those Players' Cups helped me grow a lot. Like, it really reflected on my losses and like how I didn't like make the North America qualifiers. And so, but then by the Players' Cup 4, so we had a restricted format. 1 was allowed. I was running the Cosmo Duskbane in a Tailwind, and in a best of 1 format, it was really, really strong. And even just sort of in general, like Necrozma was really tough to get through. I had a lot of like decisive wins, where like even I think game 2s and 3s would have been like Necrozma and a Tailwind would have been able to keep pace for like any adaptations my opponent might have had. And so that's when I started to love just playing with Necrozma in general. And so, yeah, I ended up qualifying for the North America Regionals, and then like got knocked out in like round 4 or something, like pretty quickly. So when this double restricted format came out, I knew I wanted to play Necrozma so badly, and I knew that if I could get it next to Kyogre, I just thought it would just be kind of like insane. Kyogre covers for 2 of its weaknesses in fire and ground, and even Drizzle helps. Drizzle even helps with like more extra fire resistance. Because basically, what I really liked about Necrozma at first was Prism Armor plus just really, really incredible stats. I think its attack stat, its physical attack, is like in the top 10 highest of all of the Pokemon legal in the meta. I want to say it's like number 7th or 8th, something around there. And yeah, and its defenses are like nothing to ignore either, plus Prism Armor. So it doesn't even necessarily take super effective attacks, which is really cool. And so yeah, I landed on this duo, and once I started building the team, and once it started having and sort of needing a lot of support, Kyogre was going to be another Maxmon, and it had to be basically the entire damage on my team is pretty much Duskmane and Kyogre, which is really sufficient, as it turns out. Water, electric, ice, steel, ground. I have it in my report, I think. I did really want Rock Slide, but I felt that I really needed Swords Dance. And it definitely needed Trick Room to proc, or to set the speed control for itself. It even could have used Protect, but Swords Dance definitely over Protect, because it has Max Card in Trick Room and Swords Dance.
You know, I was a big fan of Cali Ice for quite a while, and so having that same idea of like, this is my Trick Room restricted, I'm going to do weakness policy things with it, I'm going to have this as my max target. The similarities are very, very close. Both are weak to Intimidate. Like there's a lot that can go right and a lot that can go wrong for both of them. And one of the big things I learned playing in USPA and everything is, in best of 3 sets, Protect is really good on these mons. Having access to just blanking an attack once in a while it's literally the difference between a win and a loss sometimes. So
Totally.
To see Swords Dance here is actually kind of surprising, but like it also mitigates that chance of like constantly rotating in and out Intimidates and just ruining your attack stat even through weakness policy. So I
Yeah.
definitely think there is some merit to Swords Dance over Protect, if that's, since that is what you ended up doing. I think the big question I have is, why Duskmane over Solgaleo? I think that's a lot of, those are very similar Pokemon, and they do very similar things. One, you have Prism Armor, but on the other, you're immune to Intimidate, which is one of the biggest weaknesses and one of the biggest strengths of this format.
Yeah. So I think while they have the exact same typing, I think they do things really differently. Typically, so an interest, like my first thought was, every team that top cut in the Salt Lake City Regionals had a Steel type restricted. There were 2 Solgaleos, the rest Zacian, and my Duskmane. Steel incredible typing. Another thing about that weakness policy for both, and yeah, they definitely like to carry a similar item in weakness policy because 4 things hit them for super effective damage. That Fire, Ground, Ghost, and then Dark. Which is like nearly every attack in the meta, and every strong attack too, or most strong attacks. And so, but for Solgaleo, Solgaleo definitely I think wants to go fast. Like Solgaleo loves a Tailwind. It really likes, obviously both Pokemon like going first. But I think Necrozma, with Necrozma's speed tier, I think a Tailwind in Series 11 was viable because there just weren't 2 restricted dealing damage. There just wasn't as much damage output, so Necrozma could live 1 really strong attack and then a weaker attack. But with 2 restricteds, it just can't really keep pace. And with so many Airstreams going on too, Necrozma just can't afford to try to go fast. So it's just sort of left in the dust in a Trick Room. But then in a Trick Room, it's going super fast, whereas most every other Pokemon wants to go fast in neutral. And then that then leads to Necrozma being able to just add a ton of bulk to itself, a ton of natural bulk that it already has. Whereas Solgaleo, I think Solgaleo has higher base HP, but definitely lower base defenses. So Solgaleo is definitely trying. I would almost want to say Solgaleo is a little bit more hyper offensive than Necrozma, even though Necrozma has higher attack naturally. Just because it can't afford to go, or it can't keep pace with all these fast Mons and all these Airstreams and Tailwinds going on.
Honestly, that's a really fair assessment. Even the idea of, sure, you can do more damage, but you also are better under Trick Room because of that speed stat. Honestly,
that 20 points makes a difference.
Yeah. I actually didn't realize it was that drastic until literally now when I'm over here looking at stuff.
Duskmane is so slow.
Duskmane loses 40 HP points and 20 speed points, and those end up in its attack and defensive stats, whereas Solgaleo is a base 97 speed, which is the same as Urshifu and whatnot, and loses some of that attack stat for HP.
Yeah.
So what led to the rest of the team? This is Mimikyu, Amoonguss, Ensign, and Eliki. Where do you want to start with there, man?
I want to start with y'all. Y'all turned me on to Mimikyu because I had been really familiar with Dusclops. I loved Dusclops. And then y'all were like, "Hey, Mimikyu's really good, Jeremy." and I was like, I don't know. I don't like the way it looks, but then it turned out to be really good. Mimikyu disguise is absolutely insane. And so y'all had given me and I think there was a lot of discussion in our Discord too about maybe 3rd and even 4th moves. And then I think y'all definitely gave me taunt, and taunt was incredible. It let me just sort of not ignore, but really deny Amoonguss, and then sometimes even Gastrodon. And then, obviously Shadow Sneak for proccing, and then Shadow Sneak is so good all of the time. Calyrex Shadow, even though it's totally fallen off, I ran into one of them, and Shadow Sneak just does up to 60% damage sometimes, which is insane. And then it totally breaks sashes, no matter what's going on, like an Eleki sash. And then, yeah, so that fourth move, light screen, I think, yeah, I think we had talked about that in the Discord too. It was like totally a risky play, but I think y'all were like for it because I brought this team, well, a variation of it to my first USPA match, and yeah, that my USP record, yeah, 0-2, woof. But yeah, basically my Mimikyu was operating under the assumption that I was assuming everyone else would assume it had Mental Herb. That's like the best and the only item for Mimikyu.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's just the go-to item, yeah, for most Mimikyu.
Yeah, it's totally the go-to. So then I was like, well, right, taunt is like, no one's gonna want to taunt Mimikyu twice. That's such a waste of time. Like, one loses so much momentum in general, I think. Mm-hmm. So then and it worked. It totally let me get away with running Light Clay and Light Screen, which stood up to Palkia, stood up to Calyrex, the one Calyrex Shadow I ran into. It lets me stand up to Yveltal, and then even Kyogre, and even Gastrodon sometimes, and Rotom Heat. I ran into a Rotom Heat. Yeah, so Light Screen it was a phenomenal tech to have. Yeah, and so the Mimikyu also, I wanted Dusclops, needed Mimikyu as like that Trick Room setter partner. And it's some really strong, really common lead is Kyogre Mimikyu. You can kind of just Trick Room Protect, or even sometimes if you're not too threatened, Trick Room Origin Pulse. And you just get insane damage turn 1, and you get speed control. And that can snowball really quickly. Mimikyu, Amoonguss, also a great lead. Mimikyu, Necrozma, also a great lead. And Mimikyu Incineroar when I really need to get it up, like if I need to fake something out. And like Trick Room is my whole plan. But yeah, so I had this Mimikyu and Necrozma and Kyogre. Kyogre being a big damage dealer, just needed Protect, Origin Pulse, Ice Beam, and Thunder. It needed all the coverage. I couldn't really afford Water Spout, I didn't think, because I wanted it to have max damage Life Orb. And I didn't need any speed investments as I'm running in a Trick Room, so it could be, the Kyogre's pretty bulky too. And then Incineroar, of course, like pretty standard support. Incineroar is just insane. I love, like, everything about Incineroar is like really strong, and I didn't have an Assault Vest user, so I wanted to put the Assault Vest on it, because I can still get special attack drops out of Snarl, even though it's not really pivoting as much, but still keeping U-turn for a pivot move, and then of course Flare Blitz and Fake Out. And the Assault Vest let it be a really strong physical attacker. Flare Blitz doing just, if Zacian's left out there, insane damage to Zacian. Tons of damage to Amoonguss. And then even outspeeding and getting pretty good damage on Calyrex Ice. I don't know if I ever Flare Blitz Calyrex Ice. Because that would be, I wouldn't want to prot the policy. I would just do that at if it had 60% left. But yeah, the Assault Vest really let me bolster that Incineroar's stats. So it got really good physical defense, inherently insane special defense, and really good attack. And then finishing a Fire, Water, Grass core, Amoonguss. And Amoonguss, I really love playing with Amoonguss too, especially in a Trick Room. The board control, even outside of Trick Room, is just insane with Rage Powder and Spore, and then Protects to keep it around, and then Pollen Puff. So Necrozma, another awesome thing about Necrozma is that once it gets boosted with its max moves, a Pollen Puff then just has so much more value, because each HP point is sort of worth more once you have those defense boosts up. And it's even really nice with Kyogre having the Life Orb to give it, when we're all in Trick Room, to give it one Pollen Puff is worth 50%, so that's 5 more attacks on the Life Orb. And then even Incineroar, on occasion, in testing, I've Pollen Puffed Incineroar so that it can Flare Blitz again. But yeah, even helping out Incineroar. Sorry?
So gotta keep it healthy, gotta keep the HP up on that thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then I give my Amoonguss a focus sash because I wanted it to survive more than just flying moves. I think Cobra Berry, while Cobra Berry is really awesome, Amoonguss could also lead into a Calyrex Ice, surviving even a Max Hailstorm, like getting to do something fun before, it faints. And then also just like if Palkia gets a helping hand, that Max Wormwind will OHKO Amoonguss, unless it's wearing a sash. Big fire moves. The sash just sort of lets it live a ton of moves.
I love Sash Amoonguss. It's something I've tried to preach as much as I possibly can. I honestly think Koba is garbage because just so many other things KO you.
Yeah, just
like, all right, cool. You lived one, and now you're dead to the next attack or whatever else. So I think Focus Sash is just strictly better on Amoonguss right now.
It's just hilarious that this bulky grass type only has to run Focus Sash. Like, they designed it to be defensive. It's not enough. You have to put Sash on it to keep it alive.
Yeah, it's really not enough. It can definitely survive like weak attacks, which is really nice. Like I still gave mine had entire defense investment. It was almost all HP, and then I actually split its physical and special defense so that it could live just like be a good pivot for a variety of like weaker attacks. But yeah, it's like really bulky, but in this format, it's still not enough. Yeah, totally agreed. Yeah, and then that 6th slot, Regieleki. It's not that it was a terrible idea, but the Regieleki set I built, I think, was terrible. I disserviced that Pokemon.
Yeah, I was about to ask about this. If you could walk us through what this Regieleki is doing, because
I mean, personally, I love it. I love anything that has Choice Band Explosion. So
I'm definitely interested in what we're doing here and like what our original game plan was with this Choice Banded Aleki.
Yeah, so this Regieleki, so I ran it with the team that I used in the Players Cup 4 North America regional qualifiers. And I actually did end up bringing that Regieleki a fair amount when there were no restricteds. It's just that Wild Charge, Banded Wild Charge does insane amounts of damage. And Volt Switch, for if, someone pivoted, like I made a bad read or... Volt Switch is really, really awesome. Extreme Speed actually comes in clutch if the Trick Room game sort of goes up and we're in Trick Room. And then Explosion is just sort of like, it's just a nasty surprise. Like, Explosion next to I had a Dusclops at the time, so Explosion and then Trick Room, like that could really, at times, make it 3-on-2. With my speed control, like prepped for their last 2 months. But so that was the Regieleki in theory. Here it definitely. So I wanted Regieleki because since I was running a really hard Trick Room, I wanted the fastest Pokemon in the game at the total opposite end of the spectrum, and I wanted it to be able to exert. Like Regieleki is pretty scary. It exerts a lot of pressure, pretty threatening, and. So I wanted it, but this is just definitely not the set. Like maybe even on Electroweb, this one can't be wearing the sash, but like a magnet like Electroweb Protect variant of Aleki. But then also in total hindsight, like I would actually just sort of want something probably that's, playing the game that I built to play, this hard Trick Room game that can also take care of Gastrodon and maybe Solgaleo and Kartana. Because when I ran into Aaron Trailer playing Unreality, that Kartana gave me a lot of grief. And then of course Joe's Gastrodon. Usually that game plan is just to sort of like beat Gastrodon with some hailstorms or some quakes, but yeah, Joe played a really good game.
Yeah.
To not get to that Gastrodon and get through it.
Gastrodon's real tough to get through most of the time.
Real tough what?
Real tough to get through most of the time.
Yeah, Gastrodon's awesome. I love that slug. I love that slug is like in the meta. in my BDSP playthrough, Cynthia's Garchomp used like Earthquake. My Gastrodon had like 1 HP and returned with Ice Beam. It was so cool.
That's the team. It is you. I know you plugged it once already, but you have an article up on Victory Road. Go check it out. It's really well written. It breaks down everything that we didn't, including specific IVs, EVs, all that good stuff. Really well written article that I have definitely read before we started recording tonight. So let's go into Top Cut here. Do you all have the those lists pulled up?
I can get it pulled up.
I'm gonna say I came prepared.
Yeah, says the person who didn't know there was an article until we started
Look,
recording.
I don't need this kind of harassment side, okay?
There we are. Hey, look at that. Top Cut.
So I know I kind of looked through this earlier in the week, and there's a couple things that really stuck out to me. Like just like some really off the wall things that like I don't think people anticipated. There's this team that has a Cinderace and a Dracozolt on it down here in 14th. Just like really absurd.
We got to see that one on camera.
A really hyper offensive team, but it's also playing Cali Ice, and then there's this just like random Dracozolt and Cinderace on it.
Yeah, we actually got to see a lot of these on camera during day one. The team with Butterfree down here in 29th, Max Simon, we got to see that one on camera. We got to see Wolfie's team on camera. Where are we at here? We got to see the Dracozolt team talked about just a minute ago.
I'm excited to go watch coverage of the Butterfree Pikachu team.
Yeah,
I
it was.
to see it, and when I was scrolling through this, I went, I don't know what they're doing, but I'm all for it.
they played it with. They played it very well. Let's just go with that, without spoilers. How many of these people did you get to play, Jeremy? I know on camera we saw you play, Joe. You mentioned Aaron Trailer.
So going through mine, the people that I played in this top 32, it was just Aaron, Joe, and Z. Oh no, sorry, Z and Alex actually.
Okay, so you played a good chunk of them then.
Yeah, I played. Yeah, I ended up playing a lot of these really strong players.
I mean, that's what happens when you do well.
Yeah. As I was like getting my wins, I was like, oh, it's just gonna get harder from here on out, and then it just got harder.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was like, what's this all about? But also like, I don't know, getting stepped on, like, it definitely feels good too. I'm just like, oh, nice. This was good. Mm-hmm. I definitely learned a lot. I have to be sad for a second, but then learn a lot from this. Yeah.
So what were your losses in Swiss? Do you remember them?
Yeah, so my losses in Swiss were against Alex and Aaron.
Okay.
Yeah, who placed above me in the top 8 cut. And then, I mean, yeah, even Z placed above me too. But yeah, those were... Yeah. Aaron was my last game in Swiss, and then Alex was my first game after lunch. And so definitely next time, I'm going to that first game after lunch, I was really tired. Like, that food was really settling in. That's a good tip. I need to play like a puzzle or something after lunch to get back into thinking.
Wake the brain back up after eating. Yeah.
Yeah, totally honestly. So
did they have a lunch break during the event, or was it just like, all right, I'm gonna go eat now that my round's over?
No, they gave you a lunch break at noon, I think it was, or something like that.
Oh.
Yeah, after round 4, whenever that was. Yeah, 4 rounds, lunch, last 4 rounds. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever played an event that actually has a lunch break.
We did in Collinsville.
We did?
Yeah.
I think you're making stuff up.
Nope, because we all dropped after going 0-3, and then round 4 happened, and they announced that there was a lunch break after round 4. And then we left.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember a lot of things, though, let's be honest.
That was also 2 years ago.
So?
That's over 2 years at this point.
So?
It's a long time, man.
See, thank you. Someone understands.
Yeah, COVID's been going on for so long. What the heck?
Yeah.
Did you witness the guy getting escorted out?
No, I didn't even know about that until I saw it on Twitter. Like, that was... I didn't know someone got escorted out. That's insane. Yeah.
Not only... The whole thing about it is just absurd. First tried to bribe a judge.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, did you not
Oh,
hear
you
about
didn't get to hear
this?
about this part. Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah. Tried to...
Well, yeah.
Bribe a judge to get in. Turns out the judge was a member, was a employee of the Pokemon Company. They're like, absolutely not, get out of here right now. I left, then came back in and snuck in to get in to register.
From the stories I had heard, that they even got paired up to play.
Yeah, he played round 1 and was escorted out in round 2.
Oh, wow.
They say escorted. The police showed up and he bolted.
Oh, wow. That's, yeah, that's...
It was. I thought that was what
That's
the the thing that stalled round 1 was, but I wasn't sure. And I had heard that round 1 had been delayed with a technical difficulty or something. And I thought that was what it was, but I don't think that's what it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Because I guess if they got escorted round 2. Wow, what? How did I not? I was oblivious.
It's a big
What in the
venue.
world?
It's a big venue. I'm not surprised. There's lots of things that happen there that people just don't catch sometimes.
SLC was giant. I feel as though there was something else big that happened that I totally wasn't aware of.
The only other big thing I know of was a TCG player got disqualified in top 8.
I did hear about that, yeah.
For
that's a bummer.
marked
Playing with
cards.
marked sleeves.
Yeah.
With marked sleeves?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
We know all about doing that. Trust us.
Yeah. Carl and I both have a history of playing Magic, and so that's a whole ordeal.
Yeah. It's
Dang.
something just super subtle that just helps the odds just ever so much.
And as a result, it's considered cheating and was promptly kicked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Shouldn't really be doing that. Yeah, dang.
Man, there's I keep looking over at these teams, and there's an Alolan Executor as well.
Yep. There's a lot of cool
Down
Pokemon.
at 18.
Yeah, there's
Paired with Glastrier and Dialga as well. Just wow, so absurd.
That's definitely a team. Yep.
Yeah.
It is a team that placed in top 32.
I'm trying to count how many of that Sun team there are in top 32 right now.
I'm assuming the team that
Yeah.
Oh man, there's a ton.
There's at least 4.
I think it's 5 of Hot Dog?
Of the Zacian, Groudon, Gastrodon, Charizard, Grimmsnarl, Incineroar core. That's 6. That's just super duper solid.
It's so solid.
I have been sitting here for I think it's days now trying to pick this thing apart, and there's no good way to pick it apart.
The number of messages I've gotten from Carl saying, I don't think I can beat this team. I might as well just learn how to play it.
I mean, I've already done that part. I know how to play it now. I had to put it down. I had to put Pokemon down for a day. I couldn't think about it anymore.
Yeah, I have not I don't think I've actually played a game of VGC at all this week. This week has just been insane. So just like I have been out of the loop. I didn't get to watch any coverage. I didn't get to play anything this weekend. I am very behind.
This.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I've been like grinding VGC now. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to.
You're halfway there. You got to get the rest of them points, or however many points you
I know. Yeah. It's definitely been a grind. That's that crazy week though. I hope the week goes well. Like I hope it ends well.
You know, man, it'll happen when it happens. You know, it'll calm down eventually. Hopefully.
It never does. I'll tell you that right now. It never does.
So what's your next event that you're for sure going to?
So I'm definitely going to Indianapolis. I guess that's the next one coming up.
Yes.
So we've got till what? We've got like till May 6th. Are y'all are going to Indy, right?
I am.
Charlotte for sure.
We don't know about Carter
Okay,
yet.
cool.
Yeah, as of now I am not, but again things could change.
If he gets this job, I might have to end up like throwing him in the trunk of the Jeep and dragging him along for the ride.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I hope you can come. I really hope you can come. That'd be really cool.
It'd be nice. To not be by myself at the venue would be nice.
You know plenty of people. I'll
find them, but I won't be there with them.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, it was definitely the VGC area I think was kind of small enough. Like I felt as though like someone I kind of knew or like recognized or had met was like always in eyesight, which was cool.
Did you go play basketball on Friday night?
Yeah, I got to meet Angelo Hunter, got to meet Jordan who placed in 9th. I got to meet a bunch of people. It was really cool. Condor NJ, Joel, what's Pokinino Bros, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Basketball was pretty fun. It's pretty competitive too. We were sweating. I
was wondering how, like, if it was just like fun shoot around or if you guys are just gonna go hard balling all over the court. Got my answer there.
KJ's got some handles. KJ can move that ball between his legs, behind his back. Yeah. It was really fun. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. I know. I saw that they were posting pictures and everything on the USBA server, and that they were actively looking to like get pictures taken at the event and stuff. So
yeah,
fantastic event. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure the atmosphere was just brilliant. You know, this being the first event back, and just everyone's excitement levels were high. I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what everyone was really talking about because. Like all of the vets were like, "Oh my gosh, it's so nice to be back." And yeah, it was really a joyful atmosphere. Yeah, it was really fun. Oh my gosh, I hope you come.
Dude, I love live events. You know, when I used to play Magic a ton, it was always just like, all right, what can I actually take off? What can I afford to go to? All right, where's the closest one? You know, just like it was constantly plotting. You know, as soon as schedules came out, it was like, all right, I'm gonna try for this one. So realistically, I'm gonna be able to narrow it down to like 2 of those.
Yeah.
It was a blast.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
That's really cool.
And so, you know, now with Pokemon, it's just irrationally better. It really is. Just being able to have this. The biggest thing between Pokemon and Magic is honestly the atmosphere. Everyone is there to enjoy this franchise that is, you know, all encompassing at this point. It is truly, it will stand the test of time, and it is fantastic. And the fact that there are so many people at these events that just want to come and hang out, just to be there is such a big deal.
Yeah, I guess what Magic is just like a little bit, a bit smaller.
It not only is it smaller, from my experience, it's also it feels like it's sweatier too.
It's
which
not.
is like,
It's not
there's
as
a
nice
lot of tryhards when it comes to it.
for sure.
But it is what it is. You go in, everyone goes in thinking, all right, I'm gonna win this event, and then half the room is out at 0-2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 2 hours in, like half the people are gone, and then there's always the other half that are just there to play, and so it can create a lot of toxic environments that just are unsavory, in my opinion. So glad we switched to Pokemon.
For sure, man. I cannot stress that enough. Well, what are we thinking, boys?
I was about to say, where can they find you at, Jeremy? Like, do you have any socials or YouTube or Twitch or anything like that?
Yeah. At so on Twitter at Jeremy Ed Boyd. It's got a link to my YouTube, which is also now Jeremy Ed Boyd. And then that's like a. Sorry.
I said I'll have those probably below in the description somewhere for people to just scroll down and find.
Cool. Thanks. Yeah. And that's what I've got so far. I don't have too much on YouTube or Twitter so far, but yeah, I do have a video in mind that I actually do want to post soon on YouTube. So yeah, so hopefully we can all look forward to that.
So yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, just a lot of like team building and team testing right now for Indianapolis. We have a month to figure out that Sun team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't stare at it too hard. Trust me, you'll hurt your brain.
It seems like a nightmare for your team, in all actuality.
Yeah.
Did you play against it at all?
Against Joe in Top Cut.
Yeah. So literally, having Kyogre, like on paper, it's like, oh my gosh, you just munch up Sun and spit it out. But I never ran into a Sun team in all of my Swiss rounds.
Oh,
and I was
goodness.
like, oh well, that's okay. Huh? I know, right? And then I get to playing against Joe, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the Sun team I've always wanted. Like, obviously, Sun teams have Gastrodon. Like, I just have to just sort of play smart around Gastrodon. Like, wait until, because yeah, also like Gastrodon getting like Origin Pulse is still insane into that team, and especially with Incineroar's Snarl and even Mimikyu's Light Screen, like mitigating Gastrodon's, because Gastrodon's not like an insane special attacker. Yeah, so. Misplays, maybe not mostly, but definitely like some crucial misplays that that cost me that game. But yeah, honestly, I still think like Rain is really solid into it. Especially if you can mitigate that Gastrodon, because Gastrodon's not like, I think the scariest thing on Gastrodon is Yawn, honestly. Like, and I mean that is to say a lot though. Like, Yawn is really scary. I've got to be honest. Going to sleep is.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah. Fun fact, Mimikyu gets Safeguard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We had, I think y'all had recommended Safeguard. I didn't think I could really afford Safeguard.
It would probably be over Light Screen, honestly, which it's kind of eh.
Yeah.
Like, depends on who do you want to lose? Do you want to lose to the Yawn or the Burn, or do you want to lose to getting blown up by Yveltal, Kyogre, and the other half dozen powerful special attackers in the format?
Yeah, I would definitely rather get status than blown up for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was funny when Aaron Trailer pulled out that Safeguard though in those in those games.
I think he had hit it for the majority of like the event, and no one had actually like seen it on camera, so no one knew it was there until he hit Safeguard on Indeedee and it popped up.
Yeah. His in our first game of my set against Aaron, he popped the Safeguard. I kind of freaked out. I was like, it made me really mad. Like, I don't like Safeguard, but also it worked against my Moongus. I was like, oh, But actually,
really annoying. Thanks.
yeah, I actually don't even know if I brought Amoonguss there, to be honest. Yeah, I definitely brought Incineroar, and I think Mimikyu.
I'm about to say, with him having double grass types and the Indeedee, it's a hard bring for Amoonguss for sure.
Yeah, I actually didn't bring Amoonguss. Yeah, you know what? Safeguard's bad.
Heard it here first. Safeguard's bad. Drop it off of everybody.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a cool tech, and I think it actually did come in clutch against when Aaron Trailer played Z. Did he pop Safeguard when he played Z? He definitely did that. He definitely maxed his Whimsicott against Z.
I remember that one. Yeah, max the Whimsicott against Z. That Whimsicott is just there to set Misty Terrain. Out, done, gone.
Yeah, a Safeguard in other words, or in a different form. Yeah.
A damaging Safeguard, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. Really cool.
I'm trying to remember when Aaron showed it off. It had to either be against Joe or it was against Peng, and I can't remember who. Because it was specifically against Eon. I knew it was specifically against Eon, and Safeguard stopped it.
Yeah.
I just don't remember which match it was now.
Oh, yeah. I think it was in that final match against Chongjun.
Okay.
That was some really inspiring play.
I'll say it now. I think Chongjun was ahead, like 3 steps ahead of everybody the entire event. There was no catching him.
Oh yeah. Entirely.
Going 11-0, like that in and of itself is like insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, losing 1 game to Aaron.
Yep.
The entire time.
That's absurd.
Yeah, it's just nuts.
Just clean 2-0s for 2 days straight.
Yeah, a really kind player too. Like just a really nice person. Yeah.
This has been awesome, man. I've thoroughly enjoyed having you on.
Yeah, thank you. This is pretty fun. I enjoyed being on. Thanks for having me.
It is our pleasure.
Of course, you are more than welcome anytime. Yeah. Anytime you top 8 an event,
go win another event. Yeah, just go win an event, and we'll have you back. No problem.
Right. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
This is your motivation for the rest of the season.
Yeah. There's so much support in the Pokemon community. Honestly, it's really cool. It's really, really cool.
It really is just the best community you can be in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess it's the community. Pokemon being what is it? It's like the #1 media franchise. Or what is?
Oh, yeah, by a mile, from my understanding.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
You can't say the word Pokemon and people not know what it is at this point. It is,
and the whole world. Yeah,
which is just absurd. It is genuinely absurd to me that that's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Actually, probably the whole world. Maybe not some parts of the world. Actually, maybe.
Time to go parachute into Africa and ask them what Pokemon is.
I'll let you do that.
Nah, I'm good. I'm gonna stay at home.
I like having my comfort of air conditioning and such. I tell my girlfriend all the time, there's 2 requirements for me: air conditioning and Wi-Fi. Past that, I'm fine. Like anything else, I'll suffer through.
Okay, noted. Just find an air conditioner with a cardboard box and a router, and he'll be fine.
I'm hooked up. I'm fine.
I definitely love my Wi-Fi.
Oh
man, I think it's about time we called it a day. Carl,
Cool.
You have anything for him on the way out?
Thanks for interviewing with us. Again, make sure to check out all of his links in the description down below. It was a pleasure to have you on here, bud.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
I will hopefully see you in Indy with Carter in tow behind me.
Here's hoping, man. Here's hoping.
Yeah, I'll definitely see you at Indy. Hopefully Carter can be there too.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's the hope.
Cool. Yeah, have a great rest of your night.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So, once again, thank you so much, Jeremy, for being on. Seriously, it was fantastic to get to talk to him, and Yeah, so we have one last segment for this week. We have, of course, our team of the week that we do every week. This week, I decided, I was going to play the team I played in the IC, and it turns out it's really, really bad.
Yeah.
And it would not have made for entertaining content. So we pivoted at mid-game, basically, to playing Adam Santaco's Lunala Zacian team. And this team is... There's a lot going on, and all of it is sick.
This is probably one of my favorite, and I think it's probably one of the more unique teams we've had since Series 12 started.
For sure. Yeah, it's very, very unique. And, like, if you look at it on like, surface level, you have your Zacian, Ensign, Rillaboom, Thundy, but, like, that's where, like, the common core ends, because when you actually look at, like, the nitty-gritty of the team itself, it's really in-depth and really, really sick.
Yeah. So like you mentioned, we have Lunala and Zacian as our restricted pair here. Lunala carrying Power Herb with the standard Moongeist Beam, Meteor Beam, Wide Guard, Trick Room. I feel like that's like every Lunala set ever.
You say that, but I ran into an opposing Lunala while playing.
What were they doing? Were they doing anything crazy?
They were Colberberry, and I still one-shot them.
That ain't worth it. That is no. That is not worth it.
I did
a
very significant chunk, and their Colberberry did not matter.
Yeah, but I have to say that is not worth it. Power Herb 100% is much better. Yep. Being able to go +1 with Meteor Beam, regardless of whether you connect or not, is just too much value to have on one turn. Like
there was, I know there was multiple games where I clicked Meteor Beam. I think there was one or two where I clicked Meteor Beam twice. Just like going +2 with Lunala is absurd.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, most Lunalas can Oko Incineroars after being +1 with Meteor Beam.
That's absurd.
So always very good as an Incineroar counter there for your Zacian. The Zacian feels very standard. Triple attacks plus protect. Nothing crazy there.
I'm pretty sure it's max attack, max speed too. So like, just it is literally as standard could be.
Just run them down.
Yep. I don't think I brought Thunderous, and if I did, it just died.
I remember.
I never really got to do Thunderous things.
Yeah.
Rillaboom was good a couple different times. Ensign, is obviously Ensign, so it's always great. Shukaberry Ensign never came up though. That was one that was not very relevant.
So I could explain the Shuka thing. You literally only have Shuka to beat Groudon.
Sure.
That's all it's for, is just so you can deal with Groudon a little bit better, can pivot in and out. My one complaint about this Incineroar, this Darkest Lariat, should be Throat Chop.
Sure.
If you're going to run Physical Dark, just run Throat Chop.
Yep.
Like, the things
it's same base damage, but you get an added effect out of Throat Chop.
Like, the things that Darkest Lariat hit for super effective, I would ignore the defense on. They're just going to hit you with Max Quake anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to turn off, like, opposing instant with Throat Chop, you could turn off any sound-based move exactly with that, so...
I wish
little
Throat
things
Chop
like
turned off Yawn.
Yeah. It feels like Yawn should be a sound-based move, but it's not.
It's such a miss in design, I think.
Come on, Pokemon Company, listen to us for Gen 9. Make Yawn a sound-based move.
It's such a minor change, and it only is affected by super minuscule things.
Like Soundproof and Throat Chop.
Yep, I think that's the list.
Rillaboom feels super standard here, I think.
Yeah, it is. It's super standard as well. So like, your Zacian's super standard, your Rillaboom super standard, Ensign's pretty stock as well. You are 4 attack on your Thunderous as well, so like, even though you're not Assault Vest, you still do have access to Foul Play, so you can just punch everything.
I lied. I have one other complaint. This needs to be Brick Break.
Sure.
That's
again, super minor change, but I think it's worth it.
That's just my other optimization. But I'll let you talk about
the water bug in the room now.
I'll let you talk about the star of the show now that we got there.
Araquanid is so good, and I was not ready for it.
Yeah.
I was not ready for how good this thing was.
Yep, it's very, very powerful. I can tell you that for sure.
It Okona, Kyogre, and Rain.
I'm not surprised by that.
Like, Water Bubble is busted, man.
Water Bubble, Life Orb, Rain Boost, and Liquidation is Max Geyser off of Liquidation is busted.
It was just absurd. I genuinely couldn't believe it. And Adam's like, no, trust me, this Okos. I'm like, okay. And sure enough, it does,
Blow
man.
it up.
Lunge was very good as well. I was able to get like an attack drop on an opposing Zacian in one game. So like it was very relevant there.
Mm-hmm.
Max Flutterby is also just really undervalued in my opinion. Being able to lower special attacks there's a handful of Pokemon that just like lowering their special attack is pretty crippling. I think it came up against a Palkia. Just like, all right, I'm just gonna punch you a bunch, and eventually you're going to submit.
Yeah. I think the other big thing that this team does well is just like it shuts down Kyogre and Groudon so well because you have access to double wide guard. And it forces them into weird max situations if they want to actually attack and whatnot. Carter, did you die?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
You
you were talking, so I took a drink.
See, I can't see you because I don't have you opened up in front of me right now.
Oh, gotcha. I my camera's on because whatever. Yeah, this seems sick, dude. I am a big fan of this. It is next to the Herdier team. This is like one of the favorite teams I've played all season.
And we've only just started. We got like 5 more months of this.
I know, like genuinely, we didn't really talk about it, but just like this format is adjusted very quickly.
Yeah, I've talked about it a little bit in the deep dive last week. This is probably one of the fastest adjustments we've seen in a format, period. And I think part of that is just because we were so used to short formats that they just changed really quickly to beat whatever was the best thing.
I also think that like if you look back over time, there's a couple factors that I think really influence that. The first being, longer formats, and the second being live events. Having events actually to pull data from, as opposed to, yeah, cool, whatever, this is a 30,000 player event online. You get to see whatever people put out that they did. There's no official data or anything from it. And now that we have live events, we're actually able to accrue data and figure out, okay, this is really good. This is what we need to be able to play against, and grow from that. So I honestly think that we're going to see more of these quick adjustments over time, strictly because we have access to so much more data in the coming weeks.
Speaking of data, a sneak peek to next week, we're probably going to look at the data from Liverpool and from Salt Lake City together and kind of get some assumptions on where the format's going next week.
Hopefully Swede's going to be on. I told him if he top 8, he could come on and harass us.
I'm about to say, yeah, if he makes top 8, we'll interview him too.
Yep, I told him if he top 8, I'll let him come on and harass me. So
his team is just chef's kiss amazing.
Yeah, I am all for it. So
and with that, I think that's it this week.
I think that's a wrap on the episode, man.
Okay, get us out of here.
So, as always, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you're listening on YouTube. If you're not listening on YouTube, drop us a subscription there on whatever platform you're on. Drop us a 5-star review. Just give us all the praise you possibly can, because it really does help us grow. I know, we have been growing on YouTube steadily over the last several years at this point, and would love to just see us take off. And
I think with live events,
the support from the community is where that all starts.
Yeah, I think with live events coming back, that'll start to come up sooner rather than later as people migrate away from making content for Pokemon all the time and focusing on actually playing in events and whatnot.
Here's hoping, man. Here's hoping. I of course, I love doing this week in and week out, and the return of live events is just going to make it grow more, hopefully. So
yeah.
Let's see. make sure you go and follow us on Twitter at LR Lessons, myself at Mr. Missouri25, Carl is at Musical VGC. You can follow us on Twitch as well. I am at Mr. Missouri25, Carl is at Musical. Come and join the community Discord. That's where you get to play in all of our sweet all of our sweet events that we have going on personally online. We have our LRL dojo that's weekly best of 3 matches. We have just generic chat rooms that you can talk about Pokemon or sports or anything in between.
I don't remember if we have a Rumble this week or not. I'm trying to remember. I don't think we do.
We do?
Let me find out.
You know how you can find out, Carl?
On the website.
At lrlessons.com. You can go and check out our website and our articles that are up on it, as well as the event calendar and everything associated with it. While you're on there, you can, of course, go check out the merch store. That's where we have all of our fancy clothing and stickers and all that good stuff on there. Finally got approved on hats, so you can go pick up a hat now as well.
I'll say I'm wearing mine. I love this thing. I wear this thing almost all the time now.
Are they hats or are they beanies?
They're beanies.
Which is disappointing because I want a hat.
Well, you'd have to buy a trucker hat, a bucket hat, or a dad hat. Yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't make any.
I want a fitted hat, Carl.
They don't make those. Nope, that's too expensive.
Fair.
We're not lids.
I wonder. I'm gonna do some research.
I can give you the template for this if you want to go put it on a hat somewhere.
I might need to steal it.
And we do have a Rumble on the 30th of March.
Sick. So we do have an event next Wednesday. So as you're listening on this, it is 2 days from now.
It'll be on the server
the day that this comes out.
It'll be on the server if you want to join it, or on Twitter, whichever.
And then let's see. If you don't want to buy merch for whatever reason, you can always support us on Anchor as well. We have our link for that. All that money does go directly towards us. You can help the show for as little as 20 or 25 cents an episode, and it really does make a difference. It's how we get to do all kinds of things. So with that, I think that's a wrap on 108.
Make sure to go check out Jeremy's links again in the description down below.
And once again, thank you so much, Jeremy, for hanging out with us tonight, man. I greatly appreciate it. So I think we are officially done. We getting out of here?
Yep, that's it.
All right, man. And to everyone, thank you so much for watching. We will see you later in the week with some more videos. And till then, have a good one. Peace.